Every gardener knows this fight. You clear the beds, you mulch, you weed, and 2 weeks later, the same green invaders are back, thicker than before. Most people respond by buying more bark chips, more sprays, more hours on their knees. But here's the thing, bare soil is not neutral. It's an invitation, a landing strip for every seed carried in on the wind, on birds, on rain. So the real fix isn't fighting harder. It's covering that ground with something alive that does the job for you permanently. Today, we're looking at 8 living mulches you can plant once, and from that point on, weeds simply won't get the chance to take hold. So what exactly is a living mulch? Instead of a dead layer of bark or straw that breaks down and needs replacing, you're planting a low, dense species that physically occupies the space a weed would otherwise colonize. Bare soil invites weeds because it offers 3 things they need: light, room to spread, and exposed moisture to germinate in. A living mulch removes all 3 at once, shading the surface, filling every gap, locking moisture into the ground instead of creating the wet-dry cycles weeds love to exploit. Once you see those 3 mechanisms, you stop managing weeds and you start managing coverage. Let's start with one of the most efficient growers in the plant kingdom. White clover was used by farmers long before anyone called it a living mulch, valued for its ability to partner with soil bacteria and pull nitrogen straight out of the air. But most people don't realize what that nitrogen actually does. It doesn't just feed the clover, it leaks into the surrounding soil and feeds whatever you plant next to it for free. Above ground, it forms a dense low mat that closes every gap within weeks. Weed seedlings simply can't push through to reach sunlight. It performs best in full sun to partial shade, in lawns, orchard floors, and garden pathways. The drawback? It spreads aggressively. So in a small, tightly designed bed, it can quickly become the thing you're managing. Give it room though, and it outworks almost anything else on this list. If clover is the workhorse, our next plant is the fragrance specialist, built for hot, dry, sun-baked ground. Creeping thyme comes from the rocky, sun-scorched hillsides of the Mediterranean, and that origin tells you everything about where it thrives. It suppresses weeds through sheer density, forming a tight, woody mat only a few inches tall that leaves no bare soil exposed anywhere. Because it evolved in poor, rocky conditions, it tolerates drought better than almost any ground cover you can plant, perfect for gravel paths and those narrow strips between pavers where irrigation barely reaches. Here's the part most people miss though. Crush a few leaves as you walk over it, and it releases a scent that actually repels certain pests. So you're getting weed control and pest control from the same footstep. The limitation is moisture. Thyme hates wet feet. In heavy clay or a rainy climate, it can rot at the crown, leaving bare patches that weeds happily reclaim. Not every part of your yard gets that kind of sun though. So let's look at the plant built for the opposite conditions. Sweet Woodruff solves a problem most living mulches can't touch. Deep shade. Under trees, along the north side of buildings, sunlight is scarce. Most ground covers struggle there, leaving that soil bare and vulnerable. Woodruff's whorled, star-shaped leaves form a dense canopy adapted to filtered or full shade, closing off the light weed seeds need almost as effectively as full sun species do out in the open. It also holds moisture beneath tree roots, an area that's usually bone dry. Where it struggles is direct sun. It scorches, thins out fast, and opens exactly the kind of gaps weeds are waiting for. Match it to shade though, and it becomes one of the most reliable, hands-off covers you'll ever plant. From shade specialists, let's move to a plant that spreads faster than almost anything else here. Ajuga, also known as buggleweed, is famous for one thing: speed. Plant 6 small starts in spring along a bare slope, and by the end of summer, they've often knitted together into a single, unbroken carpet, root to root, no soil left showing at all. That same dense root system makes it excellent for erosion control, holding bare ground and the weed seeds waiting inside it firmly in place when heavy rain hits. Prefers consistent moisture and partial shade, though it tolerates more sun than most people expect. Here's where most gardeners make a mistake though. They plant it without a border, and within a year, it's crept straight into the lawn, becoming the very thing they were trying to control. Give it a hard edge, a path, a mowed strip, and it's simply one of the fastest weed blockers available. Speaking of moisture-loving spreaders, our next plant thrives in exactly the wet spots most gardeners struggle with. Creeping Jenny is the answer for the low, damp corners of your yard, where standing water lingers and most plants rot or never establish at all. Its trailing stems root wherever they touch moist soil, forming a thick, glowing mat of chartreuse leaves that chokes out competing seedlings almost immediately. It's especially valued along pond edges and in rain gardens, turning a problem area into one of the most photographed corners of the landscape. But that same vigor becomes a genuine warning in warmer climates. It can escape cultivation entirely and choke out native plants in natural waterways. So check local guidance before planting it near a stream. In a contained bed though, it's one of the most effective weed barriers you can plant. Now let's swing to the opposite extreme. Gardens where water is scarce and soil is poor. Sedum takes the opposite survival strategy. Instead of loving water, it stores it in thick, fleshy leaves adapted to drought and neglect. That structure lets sedum thrive in dry, rocky, nutrient-poor soil where grass and most ground covers simply give up. Its low-spreading mats form a tight barrier against weed seeds while needing almost no supplemental watering once established, which is why you'll find it covering entire green roofs with zero irrigation at all. The trade-off is patience. Sedum establishes slowly compared to aggressive spreaders like clover or ajuga. So during that first season, you may need to hand weed the gaps while it fills in. Once it does though, it holds that ground indefinitely with almost no input from you. Now, what if your living mulch could also put food on your table? That's exactly what our next plant offers. Strawberries are a rare case where weed, suppression, and harvest come from the same plant. As runners spread outward, they root and fill every open space between the mother plants, creating a dense mat that leaves weeds nowhere to establish. And unlike purely ornamental covers, strawberries give you something back for the space they occupy every single June. They perform best in full sun with well-drained, slightly acidic soil, ideally in a dedicated bed where the runners have room to roam. The maintenance consideration: you'll need to periodically thin out overcrowded plants or productivity starts to decline, even as the weed suppression continues. Managed well, a strawberry patch is one of the few solutions here that pays you back twice, which brings us to our final plant, another edible that doubles as a vigorous aromatic ground cover. Oregano rounds out the list as both a culinary staple and a surprisingly effective weed barrier. Its vigorous spreading habit lets it form a low, woody mat that covers bare soil quickly, closing off the light and space weeds depend on. The same aromatic oils that make it valuable in the kitchen also make it less appealing to certain pests, and its summer flowers turn into a magnet for bees, adding another layer of benefit to a bed that's already doing double duty. The trick most people never think of: harvesting is maintenance. Every handful you cut for the kitchen keeps the plant dense and compact instead of leggy, which means the weed blocking power actually improves the more you cook with it. So how do you actually choose between these 8? Think in terms of your conditions, not a favorite. Full sun, average soil, reach for clover or oregano. Hot, dry, rocky ground. Go with thyme or sedum. Deep shade under trees. Woodruff wins every time. Fast coverage on a bare slope. Ajuga gets there quickest as long as you give it a boundary. Low, damp spots. Creeping. Jenny turns the problem into the prettiest part of the yard. And if you want your ground cover to double as dinner, strawberries and oregano both deliver a harvest along with the weed control. Matching the plant to the site is really the whole strategy. In one sentence, here's the pattern. Underneath everything you just heard, every one of these 8 plants solves the same problem in a different setting. They occupy the ground before a weed seed ever gets the chance to. Bare soil was never actually neutral. It was always going to be claimed by something, and for years, that something was whatever weed blew in first. Nature never leaves soil uncovered. The only real question is whether you choose what covers it or weeds do. Start small. Pick one problem area, plant 1 or 2 of these species, and watch what happens by the end of the season. Which living mulch would you plant first? Let us know in the comments. And if this guide helped, stay tuned for more practical, nature-based strategies for a garden that takes care of itself. Care.